Hey Lonnie, the video actually transmits your picture. So if you click on it and you have a webcam, you are going to pop up on the computer, which most students are a little bit afraid of. So if you don't want to be seen, definitely don't click on the video. I'm going to have mine up here just so you can kind of put a face with the name. My name's Miss Gilman. I don't think I see many of my students in here. There's a ton of Hope teachers, so we kind of all share the live lessons. All right. And Gordana, you do not need pencil or paper. We're not going to be taking notes. We're going to be writing everything in the chat box and on the whiteboard. Unfortunately, for those of you who just logged in, the mic is not working for other people to pick it up, unfortunately. So I was hoping to get you guys to talk a lot because I would rather feel like I was talking on the phone rather than like text messaging like I do sometimes in the chat box. I feel like I'm text messaging, but we will get your collaboration done either way. So don't stress out. I want this to be fun for you. I definitely don't want you to stress out and already end up hating your first live lesson because I know this is the first time that most of you have come here. So yeah, so you should be able to click on the talk button if you have a headset with a mic on it and you've set it up, you've gone to tools and audio setup, you should be able to click on the talk button because I have it set up for multiple users, but for some reason right now it's not letting you pick it up. So Gordana, you don't need to worry about me hearing you. You're gonna basically get credit for participating. You're gonna have lots of different activities that you're gonna do tonight. Some of it is gonna be writing on the whiteboard. Some of it is gonna be answering questions in the chat box. So, like I said, there's tons of ways to communicate, even though we're doing this online. And as long as you participate and I see that you're participating, that's all I need. Okay. At the end, I'm going to actually tell you guys what to submit to your teacher so you get credit for being here. Paige, I can hear you if you, I might be able to hear you if you take your phone off of mute. So if your phone is not on mute, I will end up hearing everything in the background. So sorry, Jonathan. I think you're going to not meet your one goal in life tonight of using the mic. I wish I could have time to fix it. So probably if I logged off and I logged back in, it would probably work. But if I log off, I'm going to lose all of my PowerPoints and everything that I set up when I was in here earlier with Emmett. So, all right, so let's not worry about the mic. I was hoping to have a little bit of fun with that, but thank you so much for getting logged in for the Module 1 collaboration assignment. I know a lot of you are probably confused and you're like, oh, what is a collaboration? I don't know what it is. There's not a lot of information in the lesson on it. Basically, it's where you're going to work with a partner on an assignment. And we're going to do a little bit of a review on Module 1. And then at the end, you're going to have lots of partners. So basically, everybody here is your partner. We're going to do a group assignment. And then we're going to send that to your teacher so that they know that you were here and you can get credit for it. All right, so let's talk a little bit about classroom expectations. So far, you guys have been awesome. Even if we've had technical difficulties, you guys have all been super, super sweet to me and respectful, so I appreciate that. Just remember, even though we are in a virtual classroom, online, that it's the same as you would act in a regular classroom. You want to make sure you're respecting each other, you're being courteous of each other's feelings. Try your best. I'm going to be asking you lots of questions. If you get one wrong, don't worry about it. Not a big deal. You just move on and you learn from it. Um, Remember, we are working as a team tonight to get our collaboration done. So if you don't know the answer, chances are one of the other 22 people in here are going to know the answer, which is great. Okay. And then just make sure you celebrate each other's successes. I like to see that. I don't want you to get down on each other if somebody doesn't know the answer. All right. So Gordana wishes everybody good luck tonight. So good. All right. So just a quick review on how to use the virtual classroom, because I know a lot of you are probably new. This might be your first course with Florida Virtual School. So if you're looking at the whiteboard where you can see the PowerPoint presentation, you should see a little smiley face. That is where, my highlighter is. Okay, so if you look above where all of our names are, you should see some icons. One is a smiley face. Okay, the smiley face is an emoticon. Basically, it lets you do different types of things like give a happy face or a sad face. It can let you applause, give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So, you could always interact that way. You also have another button that has a picture of a person and it has a clock on their face. If you need to step away from the session, make sure you click on that so I know that you're still logged in but you're not there. And this way, if I call on you, I won't be talking to the wall. All right. There is another icon that looks like a hand. Don't worry about that one. That is to raise your hand. And I have like a nervous tick. So every time I hear that ding, Tessa, I freak out. It's like it gives me a nervous twitch. So I would rather just have you put your questions in the chat box, and usually at the end of every slide when I'm done talking, I scroll and I just go back and answer questions. All right. Otherwise, I get like a lot of dinging. Just goes ding, 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 ding. Okay. The other important part is your tools. So I just gave you your tools, and if you look where all of our names are, the list of all the participants, you should see on the side of it, you should now have a vertical toolbar. Okay. And really the only one of these that we are going to use, it's the fourth one down. It's an A with 3 lines next to it. Thank you for highlighting that. So when you click on it, it is going to actually let you, Xavier actually highlighted it, thank you. It's going to let you pick like a color and a font that you want to use, okay, to type on the whiteboard. So, and then most of you have already found the chat box down in the bottom corner, bottom left-hand corner. So if you have any questions, just type it in there. All right, so moving on, we are going to play a little game, getting to know you. That's what I named it. So I know you like this guy, Sai. He always makes me laugh. So what I want you to do, I want you to actually show me that you know how to use the whiteboard and you can type on it. So we're going to have a little fun, but this is like a little test of your skills here in the virtual classroom. So you're going to pick from the vertical toolbar the A with the 3 lines next to it. Okay, and you're going to type on my slide here. I want you to tell me what you think you look like when you're dancing. I look like a chicken with my head cut off. So, and you could put it anywhere on this slide. Okay, so apparently Jordan's got some dance moves. I believe that after just talking to her. We have some of you look like a mess, some of you look like a monkey, a cat in a dishwasher, a man. Some of us dance like a man. That's okay. A humpback whale. You guys like animals in this class, huh? Isaiah, yeah, if you're on a phone, you're not going to be able to type. So just go ahead and you can interact and put your answers on in the chat box. This way I can see them and still give you credit for being here and learn a little bit about you. So Nemo the fish, Jonathan. All right, so good. I have another one for you. It's a little bit deeper, super deep here. I want to know, what is your lifelong dream? What's your like aspiration, your goals, your main goal in life? And if you're going to put gold medals, you got to tell me gold medals in what? Can't leave me hanging. If I have like a superstar athlete in here, I want to know. Cheer you on TV. So Riley's going to get some gold medals. State champ. So give me more information. Don't leave me hanging. State champ in what? Wrestling? Basketball? Jonathan, yes, we know your goal is to use the talk button. Wake up happy every day. So Gordana, that's good. Something that we should all aspire to work on. I got to see who wants to be this diva here. So Yolani wants to be a WWE diva. So I have to tell you, I watched that show one time and I couldn't watch it anymore, but it was funny. So, and they're definitely in shape. So you definitely have to work hard and work out. So get rid of anxiety, state champs, to marry Mark Sloan, aiming high. So good. All right. Well, thanks for sharing that with me. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what I want, what my goals are for you guys here in the lesson. So basically what we're going to talk about today is exercise, specifically cardiovascular exercise, which was discussed a lot in Module 1. So I'm hoping that by the end of our lesson, you all understand the relationship between cardio and a better quality of life. Okay, that I'm able to help you figure out the steps of your target heart rate zone because I know on your wellness plans, a lot of you probably get points off because a lot of my students do. We are going to try to predict the effects of our workouts intensity levels on your heart rate. Okay, and then we're going to look at the relationship between being active and being not so active, sedentary. All right. So there are two types of exercise that will work out your heart that you learned about. So aerobic and anaerobic. So aerobic exercise means that your body is using oxygen as its primary source of energy. Okay, it uses the oxygen, it breaks it down into glucose, which is a form of sugar, and it's used for long duration activities like marathons and bike riding, walking. All right. Anaerobic is the opposite. Those are the activities that you might do that are really, really high intensity. They're short bursts and, maybe running up a flight of stairs, or if you play football, chasing after somebody to tackle them. They're very high intensity. You would not be able to do them for a very long time. So on my whiteboard here, I want you to write, okay? I want you to come up and tell me some exercises that would be considered aerobic exercises. So don't draw with the marker, pick the next button down and type on it. Otherwise it gets sloppy if you draw with the marker. So we're coming up brainstorming with activities that would be considered aerobic. And yeah, good job. Try not to write on each other. All right, yes, Yolani, dancing would be aerobic. So good. Running, dancing, basketball, cycling, swimming, running a 5K. Okay, so good. So there are a couple of activities on here that would not be considered aerobic activity. Okay, I'm going to put a little smiley face next to it. Actually, I'm going to put my pointer finger next to them. All right, so the first one, if I could get it to work, oh, the smiley face is going to work. Why would softball not be considered an aerobic activity? Does anybody know? Want to take a stab at it? You can put it in the chat box if you can't take the mic. Or the whiteboard, that'll work too. I'm not picky. Right, okay, so it's short distances. It's sprints. So you have a lot of rest in between them, so usually, you hit the ball and you run as fast as you can, and that's it. It's over. So that would be considered anaerobic activity. All right. Same thing for like football. Same thing for volleyball. All right, so you need to make sure that you are consistently moving for 20 minutes or more. Can't have a lot of breaks in between. All right, so any questions on this slide before we move on to the next one? All right. Yes, Miranda, just like baseball. So like softball, baseball, football, things like that, like track and field, unless you're running like the mile, if you're just doing a 100-meter sprint, it's great exercise, but it's not going to be considered aerobic exercise. All right, and I'm just looking, want to see. So Heather, if you need the segment 2 collaboration, you're in the wrong place. This is only going to be for segment 1, so you need to log out, go to the main page of the course, and where it asks you to select, which lesson you want to go to, you're going to pick segment 1, or excuse me, segment 2. All right, and you have time to get in there. Yeah, Jordan, horseback riding's not going to be aerobic either. So, okay, so let's talk about keeping your heart healthy. So we use these two terms interchangeably. Aerobic exercise is cardio. When we do aerobic exercise, we are working on our cardiorespiratory endurance. And if you do not remember, it's one of the 4 health-related components of fitness. So if you haven't done your DBAs yet with your teacher, hint, hint, this is probably one of the questions they're going to ask you. They're going to want to talk to you about the 4 health-related components of fitness. So one of them we're talking about today, cardiovascular fitness. Does anybody remember what the other 3 are? You could just put them in the chat box. What are the other 3? All right, so Jordan, ding ding, flexibility, strength. We got one more for the score. Let's see. Endurance. Endurance actually goes with muscular endurance. Agility is a skill-related component of fitness. You're going to learn about that too. All right, so I'll give it to you. So the last one is body composition, your BMI. So good, Riley, you got it right at the last second. All right. So besides that, cardio, for it to be considered cardio, remember I just said you need to last for 20 minutes. And that is going to force your circulatory and respiratory systems to provide oxygen and to, get going. It's going to strengthen those 2 systems as well. And this is the exercise where you want to make sure you're working out in your target heart rate zone. All right. So any questions on this side, what the characteristics are of cardio? All right. So on your exam, when you are asked for activities of cardio, make sure that they really are cardio. Don't say, weightlifting, running up a flight of stairs, those types of things that we're talking about. Make sure you get them straight. So Gordana, nope. Once you do the segment 1 collaboration, you don't have to do it again unless you want to. All right. Okay, so writing time on the board. All right, this is the part everybody loves. I want you to fill up this slide. Tell me, brainstorm, what are the benefits of cardio? How is it going to help you? And I don't mean just physically. Think about emotionally, mentally, socially, even with your homework academically. And yes, put it, if you can't write on the whiteboard because you're on a phone, go ahead and put it in the chat box. So yeah, Isaiah, less stress. It's going to help you with your body image. Thank you, Haley. Can help you with your stamina. Yeah, so like if you're a runner, you want to make sure that you're running a lot to improve your cardiovascular system so that it can handle more and it becomes easier. That's a good one, Caitlin. Yep. Stronger heart. Definitely your heart is a muscle, Paige, so you need to train it just like the muscles that are on the outside of your body. You need to challenge it and make it work harder than it's used to. Desiree, definitely preventing heart disease and a lot of other diseases like diabetes, heart attacks, strokes, high blood pressure. Pretty much almost every disease that people tend to die from when they're older is preventable by good exercise, doing cardio, having a good diet. Oh, good. And I like this one. Emmett, also relieving stress. That's a big one. So a lot of people like to, do yoga to relieve stress, but a lot of people like to go running. All right. So good job here, guys, getting this filled up. So I like it could be a good interactive fun. So yeah, it can improve your social life because you might surround yourself with people who have healthy habits like you. Like those of you who play sports, you might find friends who are also active and into that and are going to be a good influence on you and want to motivate you to do better. All right, let's move on to the next one. So let's talk a little bit about how monitoring your heart rate is important. Okay, so basically, I want to talk to you first about resting heart rate. So, your resting heart rate is a big indicator of your current health. So, that's why your doctor, whenever you go to get a physical or you're sick, the first thing that they normally do is they take your blood pressure and they take your pulse. So, how can your resting heart rate tell you about your health? Why do you think that's important? You could just put it in the chat box for this one. This is a short question. So what can your resting heart rate tell you about your health, your current health? I think I stumped you guys. Okay, Gordana, Danielle, it's going to see if your heart's functioning properly. So that's one thing your doctor's going to be looking for, when they're listening and they're taking your pulse, they're going to be listening to make sure that your pulse is rhythmic, that you don't have any lulls, that there's not anything weird going on with it. Um, and I'm reading what you guys are writing here. Right. So I like that one. So great. So if you have a high heart rate, like Caitlin said, when you're resting, that is an indicator that you're not very active. So athletes who are very active, their resting heart rate is going to be a lot lower. Okay. So good. So I am going to ask Xavian, if you can please stop writing on my board. Okay. I appreciate like you highlighting things and stuff, but some of the stuff we're not talking about, so it's distracting. All right. So remember, I have like ADHD and I have like ADD and woof, too much overload. Okay. So, but I appreciate it. I know you're just trying to help here. Okay. So, all right. So let's talk about finding your heart rate. This should be an easy one. You're going to use the tips of your fingers. Okay. You could use two or three. Okay. You're not going to want to use your thumb. Your thumb has your own heartbeat to it. And on your opposite hand, you're going to find your pulse. Okay. You're going to have to press in a little bit. And it's easier to kind of find on the outside of your wrist. Let me see if I can get my wrist here on the camera. And then you just count for, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. So if you count for 10 seconds, you need to multiply it by 6 to get it for a minute. If you count by 15, you're going to multiply it by 4. If you count by 30, you're going to multiply it by 2. So we're going to do a little test. I want you guys to find your pulse, and I'm going to put the timer up here on the screen. And when it starts, I want you to start counting how many beats you have. Okay. And we're going to count for 30 seconds. This way you only have to multiply it by 2. All right. So I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to find your heart rate, your pulse. All right, and go. All right. So go ahead and just share with me in the chat box. Multiply that number that you got by 2. Okay, so if you got, 40, you're going to multiply it by 2, it would be 80, and then share that number that you got in the student comment box with me. 80, 72, 64, 60, good. 602. Miranda, I think you meant either 60 or 62. 57. So good. So it looks like you guys are all on the right track and considered in a healthy range. While I was talking, some of you guys shared out some great information in the chat box too about why what your pulse can tell you about your health. Miranda pointed out that you can find it at your neck. So for those of you, that might be easier for you to find at your neck, if you'd like to do that. But basically, you can take your resting heart rate now, and if you get onto a workout program and you take your resting heart rate again, let's say maybe 3 months, you should see that if you're improving in your fitness, your resting heart rate's going to end up going down. All right. And that is because your heart is a muscle. It's going to get stronger. And as it gets stronger, it can efficiently pump blood better. So it doesn't have to pump as often to get the same amount of blood to your body. It's going to be a lot stronger. So think of somebody shaking your hand. Okay, the squeeze is going to be a lot harder. It's going to be able to dispense the same amount of blood with less work. So it'll be able to pump slower, but it's going to be squeezing harder because your muscle is stronger, your heart muscle. All right, so let's move on. So I kind of gave you the answer to this, and Miranda kind of did too, which is okay. But as you get into shape and your cardiovascular system gets stronger, what is going to happen to your resting heart rate? What do you predict? You just put it in the chat box. C. Yes. All right, good. So you all were listening. And see anybody put A or B. So yes, your resting heart rate is going to actually decrease as you get into better shape. Jonathan, stop playing with me. I know you're listening. So that's why like Lance Armstrong, athletes like, different basketball players like Kobe Bryant, their resting heart rates are like something in the 30s. They're usually phenomenally low because they're in such great shape. All right. So let's talk about your target heart rate zone. So your target heart rate zone is a way to gauge your intensity level of your workouts. Okay, just to make sure that your workouts are, efficient and you're not going to be overworking yourself. So basically what the target heart rate zone tells us is that you should be working between 50 to 85% of your maximum heart rate. But that's hard because we all have different maximum heart rates because it's going to be based on your age and your resting heart rate. Okay, so how many of you have struggled to figure out your maximum heart rate so far in the class? You could just give me a green check if you have been struggling to figure this out because it's a lot of math. So you can just give me a green check. Sarah says nope, she's on top of it. So those of you who are good at math, this probably might be really simple for. The good news is you're going to be happy. You want to get an applause. You're not going to need to know how to do this math on your final exam. So don't worry about it. Okay, so a little bit. So let's talk about it. So like I said, there's two variables that are going to affect the number. The first one is your age, right? And then the second one is your resting heart rate, what we just talked about in the previous slide. So the first part of this equation that's given in the course, it tells you you always take 220 and you minus your age. So if we're using this example of a 16-year-old boy and his resting heart rate is 70, you would take his age away from 220. So that would leave us with 204. Okay, that is his maximum heart rate. Okay, then from his maximum heart rate, you have to subtract his resting heart rate. So 204 minus 70 is going to give you 134. That's his heart rate reserve. Okay, this number, your heart rate reserve, you have to use twice. Okay, there is an equation for figuring out the lower end of your target heart rate zone, which is the 50%, right? And then you have to also use it to figure out the higher, which is the 85%, so that you have your range of two numbers. So to figure out the lower end, you would take 134, your heart rate reserve, multiply it by 0.50, because that is the equivalent of 50%. It's a decimal. You would add back in your resting heart rate, and he would get 137. Then to find the higher end of his zone, you would do the same thing. You would do 134 for his heart rate reserve, multiply it by 0.85 for 85%, add back in that 70 for his resting heart rate, and it would come to 184. All right, so does anybody have any questions about that little equation right there? I know I just sucked the life out of you with that one. All right, so here is a better way to do it. So you know how your teachers always tell you to check your work for your math? Okay. This is one website that you could use. It should pop up on your computer screen. It's called exerciseprescription.net. It's exrx.net. You do not need to have that memorized, Sarah. You're going to need to know why it's important, but you are going to need to show your teacher that you're able to figure out your heart rate zone on every single wellness plan that you do. So if you get it wrong, you're going to end up losing like 10 points on every single wellness plan. So once you figure it out, a good way to check it is to use one of the online calculators. This is just an example. Like I said, it's exrx.net, and they have lots of different calculators on here. You could figure out how many calories you should be eating. There are, different videos that you could watch on different types of exercises you can do for strength training and flexibility, which is going to be very important when you get to module 2, because that's what you're going to be learning about and doing on your wellness plans. So on here, you could actually, you don't need to do it, but it'll let you set your, your heart rate ranges, which it would be 50 to 85%. Okay, you can put your age in. I'll tell you my age is 36. My resting heart rate was 68, and then you just hit calculate and it will tell you, your range. 126 to 166 is mine. All right, so save that, maybe write it down, so that you can use it to check your work on your wellness plans. All right, so let's get back to this. So Caitlin, yes, you can step away from the computer to answer your door. That's okay. All right, so we also talked a little bit about this earlier on. So remember we said your target heart rate zone depends on your age. That's one of the variables that affects it. So looking at this chart, has anybody seen this chart anywhere? Does it look familiar to you? Okay, so where have you seen it? For those of you who have Miranda, Jordan, Gordana, where have you seen this chart? Yolani says sort of. Okay, so in the lessons, so besides the lessons, does anybody go to the gym that you might have seen this somewhere in the gym? Okay, something like it. Yeah, it's the same idea. It might look a little bit different. But if you do cardio at a gym, that has like a treadmill or a stair stepper or an elliptical machine, you will probably notice that most of them have this little chart on them to kind of help you to see if you're working in your target heart rate zone, because most of those equipment has the handheld target heart rate zone sensors on them. So it'll tell you what your heart rate is, and you can check to see if you're working out in your target heart rate zone. So looking at this chart, tell me, what do you notice about the relationship between somebody's age and their target heart rate zone? What happens? What happens as the person gets older? Right. Yep, Sarah, it decreases. Daniela, yep. Daniela, Tessa, thank you. Caitlin, it gets lower. All right. And that is because as you're younger, as expected, you should be in better shape, right? You're naturally in better shape. You're naturally healthier. You have age on your side. Your heart is naturally going to be stronger. Okay. So that's not to say a super athlete can work higher than 85% of their target heart rate zone. So let's say you have a 50-year-old person who has been training for their entire life and running marathons. Their target heart rate zone is only going to be 144. For them, because they're not the average 50-year-old, that might feel easy for them. So you might often quite frequently see somebody who's an athlete at an older age working a little bit harder, and they're still okay with it. Okay. All right, any questions about this slide before we go on? No? All right, let's take a little test. All right, so I'm going to pull up a little quiz. Not a quiz, I shouldn't call it a quiz. It's just kind of an exit slip. I want to see how much you actually remembered. And it's only 4 questions. So give me 1 second. You should see it come up on your screen. Okay. You can actually fill this in. All right. So you just click on it, fill it in, and then you're going to hit the submit button. I do not see, nobody sees your answers as you're typing it or anything like that. And then when you're done, when you have all 4 of these questions answered, I just want you to come back here and give me a green check so that I know that everybody's done it and we can move on to the next part, our collaboration part. Okay. Isaiah, you can't see it. I'm going to put the link here into the chat box as well. Okay, so you can just click on the link in the chat box. Gordana, if you're stuck on it, that's okay. Take a guess. Remember, you're not getting a grade for this or anything. It doesn't even ask you for your name, so I won't even know who put it. It's more for me. So this way I can look and I can see and I can say, okay, a lot of them didn't know this. Maybe next lesson I could work better on it. Gordon, I'm going to give you a couple minutes to do it. You don't need to write me a book. You don't, write one little sentence. That's okay, Sarah. I mean, if you want to do it again, you can just click on it in the chat box. I just put the link up there in the chat box again. But like I said, it's no big deal. It's more participation. Savian, we're not going anywhere. We're going to stay here. So this was just our little review on the lesson. After you guys do this little form for me, we're going to do the collaboration real quick. Because the collaboration piece is what you're going to submit to your teacher for credit. All right, thanks, Miranda. Okay, we're getting there. Got 7 out of 22. Awesome, Isaiah. Jordan, this should be easy for you. Jonathan, you're so nice to everybody. I hope you're this nice in regular school too. All right, I'm gonna give you guys about a minute to finish up. I'm gonna actually put my timer on here. So finish up in the next minute. This way we can get going. Hopefully I'll have you guys out of here a little bit before 8. Yep, Sarah, just fill out the form first. Just make sure you have it filled out and then, oh, you do. Okay, good. All right, Caitlin, Desiree, Gordana, Jada, Caitlin, Lilenz, Miranda, Rachel, and Riley. And Xavian. Still working on you. It's going to give you a little bit of extra time and then we're going to get going. Okay, so make sure you pick the check so that I know you're okay. There we go. See? You guys just missed the part about picking the check. Jada, up at the top, if you look where like my picture is, and then you look below that, there's going to be a box with a little check in it. And if you click on that, it'll let you pick the green check. I know you kind of came in a little bit late, so you missed that part. All right. Okay, we're going to move on. All right. So we are going to take a little break. We're going to be talking about sedentary versus active lifestyles. Okay, basically living an active lifestyle compared to living a lazy lifestyle or a not active lifestyle. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually be splitting you up into two groups, into breakout rooms. Okay, and when you get in there, you're going to see a little short article on the board. It's nothing very long, but you're going to see it and you are going to read it, okay, with your group, and it's going to ask you, you're going to see this same thing where it says 3 things I learned while reading, and you're just going to pick out some things that you would like to come back into this room and share with the group about your article. All right, so again, I'm going to repeat myself in case you were sleeping. I'm going to send you to one of the 2 breakout rooms. So there's 2 breakout rooms. One of them is going to have a short article about living an active lifestyle, and the other one is going to have an article about living a sedentary lifestyle. They're opposites, okay? When you read them, you're going to brainstorm 3 things that you learned, 3 things that stuck out to you that you are going to share with the rest of the group when you come back to this room, okay? I'm going to return you back. So, Miranda, so that's, so you're fine. Okay, so give me a second to just put you guys in a room. As soon as you get there, start reading. Okay. All right, so this group in here, like I said, you guys have the article on the importance of living an active lifestyle. So read this. I want you guys to brainstorm together and come up with 3 things. Okay, you could just write it on the whiteboard. Okay, once you have 3 things done, you could leave it, you could just put it there. I'm going to be coming in and checking. I'm going to be jumping between the 2 rooms. Okay, so yeah, awesome. So whenever you read, you should highlight things that stick out to you as being important or exciting or new information, maybe that you didn't know. So thank you for highlighting that. For those of you who haven't taken the ACTs or the SATs, this is going to become a huge tool that you're going to need to make sure that you're finishing your reading tests on time. So highlighting and then just picking it out and summarizing 3 things that you learned while reading it. Okay, so I'm going to go and jump in and see how the other group is doing. I'll be right back in a few minutes. All right, Andrea, Danielle, Emmett, Gordana, how are you guys all doing? Ooh, looks like you guys are doing awesome. So you guys have ideas here already. So what I was telling the other group, what I'd like to see you do is actually do some text marking and highlighting things that stick out to you as being important. Um, for those of you who don't know, who are not in my class, I just had to take the ACTs last month. Um, yes, I'm 36 years old and I had to take the ACT, and there's a lot of reading just like on your SAT. And if you are not good with marking text and underlining and circling main ideas and circling, per statistics and important points, you are not going to be able to finish, the reading portions quick enough. You're going to end up having to go back. So good. So Gordana, you must be a pro if you've already taken the SATs in 7th grade. Okay, let me move some of this around here. Okay, so I want you to look at this. Unfortunately, I didn't think of a better way to do this. I'm going to return you guys to the main room, and on this little reading script that you see where it says the 3 things you learned about a sedentary lifestyle, I want you to put this up again or share out so that the other group can see what your article was about. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and return you guys all to the main room. All right. Wow, you guys got more than 3 things. Okay, so I just finished talking to the other group, and I was telling them about text marking like you guys were doing and explaining how to do it. So it looks like you guys did a great job, and I'm going to return you to the main room. On your part of the slide, that, let me put my video on here. On your part of the slide that says 3 things that you learned while reading, if you would fill that out again, so that the other group, you guys can kind of share out what you're learning, and the information that you're learning about an active lifestyle and why it's important, because they had to read the opposite, about a sedentary lifestyle. Okay, so I'm going to return you to the main room, and then just go ahead and fill out, you only have to put 3 things on the slide. All right. So looks like you guys are doing a good job here. Our active group just got back in. So for those of you who read the article about the benefits of an active lifestyle, go ahead and just kind of summarize and put it here on this slide so that we can share it. You guys can compare notes. Jonathan, the highlighter it looks like a little marker icon. Lets you pick a color and kind of draw. Don't worry about it being pretty. As long as we can read it, that's all I need. All right. So Jordan and Jonathan, I can't believe I have to say this in a virtual classroom. Stop flirting. All right. So, living an active lifestyle, my group learned that 25% of adults were inactive, that it's important to exercise daily, that our genes are basically the same as our ancestors, which that's pretty interesting because our ancestors were very physical beings. They were cavemen. They were having to go out and hunt and build things, and they weren't on phones and computers and sitting down all day. They were hunters and gatherers and farmers. So our genes still crave that. And sedentary lifestyles is the second largest threat to public health. So good. All right. And then our group who read the article on being sedentary is they learn that being physically active can cause deadly diseases. So most of them, like cancers, heart disease, heart attacks, strokes, diabetes, all of those are, you could lower your risk by being active. Active people outlive inactive people. Good. Sedentary just means you're not active. And you guys just kind of put down some diseases that activity can prevent: colon cancer, diabetes. And 50% of Americans 12 to 21 did not get enough exercise. So you are in that group. I'm not. I'm too old. So 50% of you guys, 10 of you, 11 of you in here were not active enough today. So after this live lesson, you're going to get going and you're going to do your 30 minutes of physical activity. All right, so thank you for doing this part. Here's the last thing we need to do, and we're going to do it really quick. We are just going to compare and contrast. All right, pick a side. I don't care which column you pick, but I just want you to tell me a little bit about the benefits of living an active lifestyle compared to living a sedentary lifestyle. So it can be information that you learned from the class. It can be information that you just learned from those articles, or it can be information that you already knew, that you came to the course already having. All right. And this is what we're going to be sending your teachers. Yay! Hallelujah! Yay! So, and then your collaboration will be done. Sorry, Miranda, you missed your dance class for collaboration, but at least you don't have to do it again. All right, let's see. I love it when my camera video freezes and I have like this goofy look on my face. Oof. All right. So being active, healthier lifestyle, decreases stress, improves your heart health, leads to a longer life, can improve your future self. You'll not have to work as hard to build up your skills and momentum when you're at an older age. So, did you know that studies actually have been done that people who are prioritize creating a workout routine and they do it every day, they are more likely to be successful later in life? Up, now you can hear me. All right. So, what I was just saying, I clicked on some of the information that you guys were writing down here. So Sarah wrote something really great about how being active is going to improve your life as you get older. And there's actually studies that have shown that if you cut time out of your day to be active and you're motivated and you're diligent to stick to an actual exercise program, that you tend to be more driven and motivated in other areas of your life as well. So keep that food for thought. But yes, it does lower your stress, improves your heart health, improved immunity. Good. And then living a not so active lifestyle, a sedentary lifestyle, you're going to increase your risk for different diseases like diabetes, cancer, heart disease. They're called hypokinetic diseases, meaning that you're not born with them, you develop them due to your habits, due to poor nutrition and exercise. You're going to have a shorter lifespan. probably not going to live as long, and you're probably not going to feel really good about yourself, because if you're not happy with the way you look, or the way you're feeling, being active can help improve your mental health as well as your physical. So, going to give you a couple of minutes just to finish writing. Some of you guys are still typing, and then we're going to wrap this up. All right, so what I would like you guys to do is you're going to be sending this slide to your teacher as your collaboration product assignment, a copy of this slide. So if you know how to take a screen capture, go ahead and screen capture it and save the file so that you could send it to your teacher. So yes, Caitlin, you can save the slide. That's what you're going to send for your collaboration product. You could also take a picture of it on your phone and send it that way. All right. And if you have neither of those tools, where you can't screen capture and you can't use your camera on your phone to take a picture so that you can send it to your teacher that way, then I'm going to ask you to put your email address in the chat box so that I can send this to you. I normally actually screen capture it myself and send it to file share it to you, but I'm actually using the program that I use right now. I'm recording this lesson so that I can send it to my principal. All right. All right. So move that out of the way. Okay. So what you're going to submit for the collaboration product is the what we just made, the T-chart comparing living an active lifestyle to a sedentary lifestyle. And then for your collaboration reflection, you are going to submit just a couple of sentences, 5 sentences, explaining what you learned today and why it's important to collaborate with others. Okay, so you definitely want to make sure you have 5 sentences for that. All right, so as long as you think you got everything, feel free to go ahead and get logged out. I'm going to stick around and I'm going to send out these emails and answer some questions. All right, so thank you so much for participating. I appreciate it. You guys were such a fun group to work with. And I know you're going to do awesome on your DBAs on what we talked about. All right. Thanks, Tessa. Bye. We'll see you later.